Hello, hello. This is Laura V from Laura V Studios coming on for Being Divine. Today is September 13th, 2024. It is Friday, Friday the 13th. Interesting. Yeah. Wow. This has been a day. Yesterday I was like really full of energy because I woke up just, oh my gosh, like so inspired, so just alive. And then I attended day 4 of this coaching challenge that I've been on, and it just brought me down. It was like, what am I doing? And yeah, I kind of I had to work at getting up. I even, gosh, yeah, it was weird. This morning I woke up tired a little, definitely not as inspired as yesterday. Um, and, and it's been a journey. But I took my daughter to a meeting and that went well. And we got home and I talked to a friend and we had a really good conversation and I was excited. And and then I had a call and wow. Like it's about this business program that I'm considering because this coach, she has, wow, really helped me get some major shifts this week and it was free and it was really good. Um, and so this program, I was talking to this coach and he's like, yeah, we can help you with this and here's how we can support you. And I'm like, ooh. And then, of course, there's the money thing, and it's like, oh, the resistance there. But the funny thing is, I started to see through it, and I really am learning to work through resistance. It's kind of great because it's so weird. Okay, it's just so weird the things that she's been saying. Um, Yesterday she was talking about decisions and she's like, yeah, there's this guy, he makes like 10 million a year, so you listen when he talks. And he was talking about this time when he uh really knew needed to go to this conference, but he only had the money to get there. Didn't have the money for the conference or for a hotel or for food or anything, but he went. And we asked him, like, why'd you go? And he said, I've learned that when I make a decision, things just line up in my favor. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy because I have a similar story. I know that sounds crazy, but I have a similar story. And I had literally just told the story on Sunday to my friend. I was like, okay, what is this? What is going on? And why do I need to 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 know this and to think about this? And it got me thinking about the story. So, okay, so basically the nuts and bolts are I was in Russia and I needed to get to California for a weekend conference. It was something that I do every year. It was something, I'm a member of this particular group and we meet once a year and the teacher, we're all students of a teacher, and he gives an address every year to kind of help us, move forward in our spiritual journey. And I knew I had to be there. It made no sense. I mean, it made no sense. I was in Siberia. It's like, and even, he and others said, you do not have to come this year. And I'm like, I know, but I need to be there. No, it was so weird. I needed to be there. And I was like, what the hell? So I was at a church service because it was church related. And there was a teacher there. And I knew she would understand because you know, she knows this stuff. And I'm like, I literally just said, I need to be in California in March for my association, and I have no idea how I'm gonna get there. Not a clue. And she's like, like, okay, 1 year. I needed to get to my association. I was living here in St. Petersburg and I had enough money to get there, but not enough money to get back. And I really prayed about this. And I talked over with my husband. And the day of, I decided I was going. And so she did. And then they have a little travel fund, which get would get her to her mom's in Austria. And so she went to Austria to her mom's house, and she did not know, but her brothers and sisters were there. And they said, "We want to thank you for all the years that you've been helping mom. And so here's a token of our gratitude." And it was a check for money. And it was enough to get her home. So, she made the decision and, things aligned in her favor. We don't say it quite like that, but yes. And it was it. It was like some switch flipped in me, and I saw it. I saw it. I was inspired, and I just had the vision. I'm like, God's going to get me there. I do not have to worry about this. God is going to get me there. And I must have told this to my mom. Um, I don't remember. What I remember was that it was a Monday morning at 5 a.m. and the phone rang, and my mom called. It was on my mom. And she says, "I'm sorry, honey, we can't get you home." I'm like, wait, 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 what? No, this isn't possible. I need to be there. This is supposed to happen. God's supposed to get me there. What the heck? It's just like, she's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We don't have a way to do it. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I was so angry at God, disappointed, confused. I moped. I'm like, I'm not gonna get to my association, and how could God let me down? I was, really, it was like this let me down, like I don't understand, because I was so sure that God was gonna get me there. I was so sure. And nope. A week later, Monday morning, 5 a.m., the phone rings, and it's my mom. And she says, "Honey, we're bringing you home." I was like, wait, wait, what? She's like, yeah, something happened that week that suddenly made the money available to get me home. My dad was retiring. And so he was going to bring me home for his retirement party. And he got a little more money than he expected in his retirement. And so he was being generous, feeling generous. She's like, but he wouldn't pay for the ticket to get you to California. But I had some Oregon money from church. And so when I was at the travel agent, I asked her what it would cost, and she got it. She got me a ticket for you to get to California for your association. Okay, this was 1996. There were no electronic tickets back then, and the mail was completely unreliable. That was not going to get me the ticket. So how was I going to get this ticket? Well, just so happened that my boss I was a teaching assistant at the pedagogical school in this little 400,000 people, is considered a little town in Russia. Don't ask me why. I live in a 2,000 person town, and it's a village, it's like a city. Madison is like not 400,000, it's like 200. And it's a city, but in Russia, 400,000 is a little hamlet town. This is insane. It's crazy. But yeah, so her so her boss was the director of the whole college, and she was head of the English department where I was working. And they happened to be 2 hours from my mom's house. And they happened to be coming back the day before I was flying out. So I think my mom like probably organized it. But the fact that they were there, and that they were coming back in time for me to get there to go where I needed to go. I mean, it just no, you couldn't humanly do this. Like, because that had already been done. Like, months earlier, and it was just crazy. And then it just so happened that the spouse of one of the English teachers was living and working in Moscow, so he was able to meet me at the train and get me a hotel room and help me fill out the forms and stuff. And I mean, it was insane. Like just piece after piece after piece, people showed up to help me. And I got home, celebrated my dad's retirement, got to my association, and then I flew back to Russia and finished out my year of teaching. And the thing was, I know why I needed to come home, or at least, well, I feel like I know why I needed to come home. The association address that year was on the divine us, and all year long, I had been really wrestling with this me versus them. It's me versus Russians, and they're different, so it's causing this conflict, and yada yada. But when I learned about this divine us, I was like, I could see that no, we're one. We're all one. And that changed everything. I had the end of March, April, May, and some of June left. Okay. So I'd been there since September, maybe end of August. So a good 6 months of this difficulty. Those last 3 months were the most beautiful and powerful months I've ever experienced with human beings. I made friends that were just deep friendships in day. Like these people had been there for 6 months and I'd never seen them before until I came back. And I was like, how do I suddenly know you now? Like, what is this? And it was just, I was just making such close friendships with so many people, and I was getting invited to things. I mean, my life just kind of exploded, and these beautiful things happened. I, I got one of my students was in a band, and I said I want to give a farewell concert as a thank you to everybody, and we pulled it off, and I performed. I mean, the stuff that got accomplished was crazy, and and that needed I to make all of that happen. I needed to get to that association address. I needed to hear that. I needed to be a part of that. I couldn't just read it. I needed to be in it to really understand it and bring it with me back to Russia. It was just wow. Just wow. Okay, so that's my story. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any resources. Like, I could not plan that. I had to completely trust that people were going to get me there. Like other people were going to have the resources and the funds to get me there. I mean, I did, I paid for my food and my bus ticket. I could pay for like the little expenses. Um, how did I get the train to, how did I guess I had the money for the train to Moscow. Somehow I had the money for the train to Moscow and back. It was crazy. Like it just all fell into place. And that was the thing, it's just I knew I needed to be there, and I had this moment where it was like it's done. Yes, this is done. It's going to happen. I just knew it. It was like more than just a boy, I really hope this works out. And I have no idea, none of that. It was like, nope, this is done. Done deal. God's taking care of it. It's happening. I don't need to know how. I'm just trusting. I just knew it wasn't even like I'm just gonna, I didn't have to convince myself that this could happen. I just knew. And it's like I haven't had that bone deep knowing since. But I have had lots of times when people would just miraculously show up for something. People, my friends and therapists, I had a lot of therapy for a little while, and quite a few people said, I don't know how you do this, but people just show up for you. They just magically appear, and they're perfect. Like they're meet exactly the need that you. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just happens. Yeah, so I think it opened a door, but I think it also because this has been on my mind for a couple years now, like this story. Like, what am I supposed to learn from this story? So, her mentioning this guy's story so reflected back to me my story. I'm like, this is crazy that she's mentioning this. That is so personally appropriate, just so specific for me. Like, what is this kind of thing? And then today, I missed some of it because I was on a coaching call with one of her coaches. But the part that I got in on, she was telling a story from the Bible and applying it to this marketing system that she has. I'm like, here's the thing. I know that story very, very well. I have studied it for years. I have pondered on that damn thing because it's like, all right, here's somebody who didn't have money and was in trouble and needed it, and she got her answer. Now, I was taught, I learned that these stories are applicable to our lives. Like there's something in this story that can help me solve my problem. Decade. I still hadn't figured it out. I'm like, I don't didn't figure it out. Well, she had a very interesting interpretation of that story. Um, like, what did the prophet tell her to do? To go borrow. So it's like we're supposed to go borrow to get us out of debt. Like, okay, that's interesting. And then it was like, and she did what she was told and she filled all the jugs and then she went back to him and said, okay, done. Okay, so what's the story? This was Elijah. Elijah walks into a town. He did that a lot. He's a prophet. And this lady came up to him and said, you got to help me. Please, please help me. My husband died. We have all this debt. They're going to take my sons from me. I, I need help. And he's like, okay, what do you have in your house? It's like nothing. Like I can imagine she was like thinking like there's not a single thing in my house that has any value or worth. And she says, save a cruise of oil. And he's like, aha. He's in his mind, he's thinking, we can work with this. And so he told her, go borrow vessels from all of your neighbors. Not a few, borrow lots of them. Lots. Take them into your house, close the door, and pour the oil into the pots. And the oil will not run out until all the pots are full. True to his word. Filled them up and said, okay, now went back to him and said, okay, done. Well, now what do I do? Like, it was so funny. It didn't occur to her what to do. He's like, go sell it. Oh. And then use the money to pay off the debt and live on the rest. And that's exactly what happened. And so, I've been like, okay, I know what the closing the door thing is about. That's about like shutting out beliefs that are not serving you, and trust. Don't let outside influences influence you. Trust this because, I mean, come on. A cruise of oil is going to fill up like 10, 20 big pots. So that's why you shut the door so that nobody can like distract you or tell you what the hell do you think you're doing because that'll just mess everything up. So and his her it was her and her sons. They were all to be a part of this. I think that was important too. But it's like, okay, so what do I have in my house, my consciousness, my physical house that I can use to make money, to bring in money? I've literally thought on this for decades. And here she's like, here's what it is. And boom, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but how are you using one of my favorite Bible stories in a coaching session right now? Like, who are you? It's like, what is going on. And so this is my day today. It's like, do I do this? I don't have the money for this program. I've got to borrow money if I can. Um, the finances on my end are not the greatest right now. And so I'm just like having to trust. I'm like, okay, number one, it's like, is this really something I should do? Should I really be working with this woman? Is this the right thing to do? Um, but like so many things are just like strange, like really specific signs specific to me. It's mind-boggling. And so it's that. And then, okay, so because I need to, it's like, at least when I knew that I needed to be at that, I don't know that I need to be in this program. Um, I want to accomplish the things that she has inspired me to accomplish, which is to have a really successful business. It's funny because when we think of successful business, we think of it in terms of money. Like, I'm finally making enough money to support my family. But, a successful business is that you are serving others at a high level, that their needs are being met. You're really serving in a high capacity, and they're getting what they need, and you are feeling fulfilled and satisfied. And this is so crazy because this is what I envisioned for myself back on Sunday. It was like I saw her, like she's fulfilled, she's all her debts are paid, she's in good financial shape, her kids are successful, they're making their way, and they're getting things done, and they're happy and content, and I'm content, and I'm living in the perfect home for us. And I just had this full-blown vision of who I am, who I'm supposed to be. And and this week I was challenged to envision myself as a successful a successful coach, with a successful business, making money that will support my family. And wow, this is what I've wanted. But I really have resisted the idea of selling high ticket. Like, I have resisted it for a couple of years. Like, this is not something new to me. People have been telling me this. I'm like, no, no, I can't do that. um, that is now gone. I'm like, yes, I can. Now it's funny. In my head, I can do it. But then when I'm in front of people, it's like, uh-oh, what am I doing? Then it becomes real, right? And then it's like, uh-oh, I'm an idiot. It's like, what the heck? Because it's a big leap. I think that's the thing. It's just such a big leap. But like I said, I had a quantum leap yesterday, and I know I did. I know a door has been opened and I can do this. Like, there's a part of me that knows, but there's also a part of me that's like, you are full of it and you're going to fail yet again, and yada, yada, yada. And so I gotta, like, just work my way through that. But yeah, that's today in my being divine journey. It's like, wait a minute, what does this have to do with being divine? I can actually tell you what this has to do with being divine. So I study human design. I've studied my human design. And it turns out that one of my gates, one of my themes in this life, actually it's a pretty big one, a big one, is that ex- that material success leads to spiritual growth. So mastering money, mastering serving others, because I'm a little challenged at serving others. I really am. But serving others and making money actually lead me to spiritual growth. Yeah. Like, what? So that's why. And I wasn't looking for this. This just kind of fell into my lap. I saw her ad on Facebook and I was like, Sure. I've said sure to a few other people too. I mean, I often don't just do one. It's a few that I end up they all end up having some kind of workshop or something all at the same time. And I'm just like, I'm gonna go crazy. But yeah, and I my days all worked out for me to attend these sessions fully and to fully participate. And I took action on what she taught every day. Crazy. So I have some I have some thinking to do, and I have some, just introspection to do, and really, really get clear on, is this what I'm being called to do? And do I have the faith to follow through on this and see this through? Do I have the strength? Do I have the fortitude? Do I have the just a lot of things. I've just gotta really get settled into me, like, is this, and I know, and I know, even though it's, it's a little terrifying, because it's an investment more than I've ever made if I end up doing this. Um, yeah. Uh, I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm not in a place of knowing for sure. The thing I do know is that it's it's in my heart to really wrestle with this, because there have been, it's funny. I have had other business opportunity, program opportunities come, because I know I need to learn how to do this to be successful. I need to learn what I need to learn to do this successfully. I know this. Like, I need to know this. Um, and I need help and guidance in doing that. And the question is this the right thing? And is there going to be a way for the money to come for me to make this happen? And am I going to be able to return on the investment? These are all things that I need to really get clear on. Um, yeah. So that's my day. Oh, Zoom kicked me out and came back on. So here we are. I'm hoping that there wasn't too much of an interruption. So yes, this is what I'm facing right now, and this is the day on my journey, not something I expected to be thinking about or to really be taking seriously, but I am. I'm like, So we shall see. We shall see what this is all about and where this is going and how this is fitting into my journey of being a fully embodied divine soul. And my shift on September 1st into really stepping into my highest timeline. Oh, you know what? I had forgotten that that's what this is about. I really had, like, this had so taken up my time and attention this week that I had forgotten what this was all about, even being divine. But yeah, it was because I had been really guided that I had shifted into my highest timeline, and I'm seeing what that looks like, and here we are. Well, if this is my highest timeline, then it's going to be me serving at my highest level. And that's going to be a huge jump for me. So I'm going to need a lot of support to make that happen. And these people just happen to be offering this support, like, at an unparalleled and it's unprecedented. That's it. At an unprecedented level. It's insane what they're making, what they're offering in support. It's so yeah, that's where I am tonight. So I will see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye. Let me find the recording. There it is.